This is the first in a new series of videos on how to update the work experience section of your resume. Now, you might be tempted when updating your resume to start with updating the work experience section or have that be one of the first things that you update. If you've been following along with the resume tutorial playlist, you'll note that that's not the first thing that we did. First, we asked a series of fundamental foundational questions asking you about what you want to do next and breaking down your skill set. I did the same thing with Alan. The first question I asked him was, what do you want to do next? Then I asked him, okay, so how do we summarize your skill set? And how do we break down that skill set into 3 separate skills? And you see that those last 2 questions are answered in just this one line. Bold and responsible storyteller with a blend of skills in social media management, community management, and web management. With one sentence, we have a pretty decent understanding of the overview of Alan's skill set. He chose to say bold and responsible storyteller. He could have said many different things here, but he went with that. It tells you something about Alan. Social media management, community management, and web management are 3 sets of skills which demonstrate the diversity of skill set that he has around the space. Then we broke down those skills into sub-skills. So for social media management, you can see we have different tools here like Hootsuite and Adobe Premiere, but we also have different categories of skills like copywriting and social advertising and audience growth. There's also a 4th skill here, team contributor. This is one that normally I would only use 3 skills, but I decided to go with 4 with Alan, particularly to make room for this web management skill. This 4th skill, team contributor, is more of a catch-all. If you have a variety of skills, or I should say sub-skills, where you're not sure exactly where to put them, you could have a team contributor skill. This is one that you can put interpersonal skills, how you work with others, and maybe specific things that you do on a team that don't really mesh well or they don't fit very well in these other categories. So here we have collaboration, peer work review, thoughtful precision, accommodating, and reliable results. Now, chances are if you're building out a resume and you're watching this video, you're not going to build a resume that's a social media professional resume. You're probably not going to have these sets of skills, and you might be wondering, well, what am I going to get out of this? The purpose of this video is not to build a social media professional resume, but it's to demonstrate how to use your skills as a guide when you're building your work experience section. We're going to use these skills to identify examples, specific examples where we've highlighted them by using that in the work experience section. So let's go through a couple examples here. Video editing is something that's in the social media management skill. Social media management is an important skill here. You know that because it's in the upper left. The upper left of a resume is where the eye is going to be drawn. And so by having social media management at the top left, it's signifying this is an important skill. Please look at it. Video editing is also one of the top skills in this list. And this is something that was important to Alan. He wanted to highlight it on his resume, and so we put it there. If we look at our work experience section, you will see this nice bullet here. Created and edited 100+ pieces of high-polished blog and video content for publication on social media as well as company and partner websites. So that's an example. This is an important skill. We've highlighted it as an important skill, and we've taken an example here. You can use the skill set that you've identified on the left-hand side here to prioritize what's put in the work experience section. And so something I was doing when I was sitting down with Alan was I was saying, okay, do we have a social media management bullet? Okay. Do we have a community management bullet? Is this a community management bullet? Okay, we need a team contributor bullet. Let's get something in there. When I was challenging Alan to get a team contributor bullet as we were building this, one of the things that, a bullet that we ended up highlighting as a result of that was this one here. Worked with legal, HR, and international offices to create a quarterly employee engagement contest, developing content to highlight positive work culture. Demonstrates his ability to collaborate with other teams, to work with teams from a variety of different departments. And that came from wanting to prioritize having the skills that are listed on the left represented in the work experience. Web management is a bullet that was covered by this one. Managed an active blog by scheduling around 100. We're actually going to get to this. Let me zoom in here a bit. You might notice that there are these squiggly lines before some of the numbers. This is a tilde. We're going to get to that in a later video and what that means and how to use them and why to use them. But manage an active blog by scheduling around 100 pieces of content and assisting with copywriting and content development. So we're using that skill set as a guide, and we're trying to make sure that we have representation from different skills and from a variety of these skills. You should make sure that you have at least one bullet for every single skill. And if you find yourself, well, you don't have to do this 100% of the time. In fact, let's go through an example of where it's good to go off of the skill set. So what you'll notice here is we have this older position here. If you have an older position, now literary and digital consultant for this resume, I would say that you can pull things out of this position that are going to be applicable and are going to highlight skills for Alan's what he's currently doing and also what he wants to do next. So I would say that this position is still relevant to a degree for what he's currently wanting to do. However, if you have a position that's maybe a bit older on your resume and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, it's not particularly relevant to what I'm currently wanting to do next, this is a good place where you can go off your skill set, and you don't have to be highlighting your skill set so much as you're highlighting things like you're responsible, things like, here's demonstrating how I was really responsible, how I had a lot of ambition, how I was trusted with the project and I succeeded in the project, highlighting bullets that are going to be good talking points and just kind of wow factors. So one example here, and again, this one is still something that we could probably find ways that they can become relevant with Alan's what he's currently wanting to do, but this is a wow bullet. Developed, launched, and promoted a Kickstarter campaign that raised over $31,000 for a book's publication. That's one where you go, okay, wow, you did a thing. That was really impressive. You raised over $31,000 for a book's publication. You helped launch something, and that's impressive. You can see that it could be a talking point for maybe you have 5 minutes in an interview where you talk about this. Or it could just signify to somebody, hey, this is somebody who you can give a project or put in collaboration on a project and can help drive success. So if you have an old position, let's say you had an old position where maybe, I'm going to throw out some ideas here, maybe you're currently wanting to do accounting or marketing or HR. And let's say you have an old position where you were doing a chef position and you're not planning on cooking food as a part of your normal everyday job tasks in your next job. You're like, what do I do with this? But what you can do is you can highlight wow factors and you can highlight things that demonstrate your responsibility and your work ethic. So you could put something like got up every day at 4 a.m. or went in the kitchen every day at 4 a.m. to clean the kitchen and ensure that we had a kitchen that was up to health standards, right? Demonstrates that you have a very solid work ethic and you're responsible. You could put in a wow bullet like, I cooked a meal for Brad Pitt. And you're like, wow, that's something you want to maybe talk about in an interview or something that's just kind of interesting. Or you can identify something that demonstrates the quality of your work. So you could say something like, I cooked 300 meals without any customer complaints. Now, I doubt you're going to find a chef that can say that, but something like that demonstrates, hey, this, I take a lot of care in my work, and this is a thing that highlights it. So that's where you can go off of the skill guide or off of your skill set that you're using the rest of your work experience to try and highlight examples. That's where you can go off, especially with these older positions. Alan is one of a handful of people who have been taking advantage of the free resume and career coaching help that I've been offering recently. If you're someone who also needs help, please leave a comment on this video and I'll follow up. This resume was used with permission by Alan. Thank you, Alan. I also want to give a shout out to Alan. I was impressed. I noticed and was impressed by how honest and Alan was as we were going through this process. He was very honest, and it's commendable. He's also quite humble, and so somebody who I wanted to give a quick shout out to. So thank you, Alan. You're going to be seeing more of Alan's resume in the next upcoming videos as we go through various tips and techniques for your work experience, how to add metrics to your resume. You're going to see a lot of numbers here. How to add metrics if you don't know what the metrics are. And stay tuned. We got more coming. New videos every Wednesday. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.